it is for sure obvious to a lot of the brokers and the commercial side of things that this prop world is a significant business. And I think a lot of these success stories that we've seen in recent time have been a result of brokerages not being like caught flat-footed, but essentially being caught flat-footed. Like they really didn't see this market, coming. And all of a sudden you have these Top Step is a partner that we've worked with for some time in Chicago, and we license them a lot of our technology. They basically came out of nowhere. I mean, they'd been grinding for years and years and years. Business has actually been around for a long time, but they switched their model slightly, and all of a sudden it's hockey stick growth. A lot of brokers are aware of that. And they do see this kind of new generation of investors who want to have these kind of combines or competitions or things like this. That takes a long time for a broker who's a very regulated entity to make a move or a shift in that direction.
Of course.
But safe to say, now that they do realize the size of that business, it is for sure coming. On the retail side of things, I do agree with you that the bigger guys are not interested in providing maybe lower cost solutions, but that does actually present kind of a Robin Hood opportunity, which is, if you think about it, like from a very what would you call that? Like a low cost kind of prop solution, or low cost trading combines, or low cost, but also having infrastructure that is actually reflective of traditional markets.
Yes.
Whether it be like a trade station or whether it be an OANDA, these guys have infrastructure. Now, if somebody came in and really thought about it from, kind of a Robin Hood mentality, that's a big change and that's a big shift. So
that's awesome.
I think there's probably a couple people who will try that out first, but it'll take some time to get there, right? Because that first wave is really brokers trying to do this at all as like a starting point, and we've yet to see that. So
I feel like their timing is impeccable, because I feel like they allowed the sandbox to play itself out, and they saw the pros and cons, and then the regulatory landscape is so unclear that now, as soon as there's regulatory clarity, then the guys, they want to step in. But the issue that I'm seeing is, let's take crypto for example. You can have a company like Coinbase play by the rules every step of the way, become publicly listed and get audited accordingly, and still have issues with the SEC because of the lack of clarity in regulation. So do you think that the current regulatory environment is sustainable for startups to really build, or is it always just going to be, if you get big enough, it's, regulators will step in and you're going to be embattled in lawsuits long enough for your competitors to take your market share?
Yeah. Well, I think that it's interesting that there are a few firms, especially in this space, that have taken the necessary precautions, if you will, which is to say that like a lot of this industry grew up overnight, but nobody really built themselves like a war chest, such that when regulators do step in, they're ready to actually handle that. And so many of these firms simply disappear or ultimately, go by the wayside very quickly. So I think that, if a business is really good, if it's making some insane margin, if you're seeing 100x growth, you always got to be cautious with how sustainable it is. And ultimately, folks who grow too fast are for sure targets. Meaning it's just the nature of regulators is always going to be reactive. And the louder the firm, the easier it is for a regulator to react, right? So I'd call it like rainy day funds is the way to think of it. If you're a startup and you actually really do want to build in this space specifically, you should, think about how you can really grow a customer base, but always think about a rainy day fund, because the reality is, regulators will come after you at some point. And so as long as you're fully buttoned up and the business is actually, operating above board, you'll be ready for that. For others who literally are just managing it in Excel spreadsheets and stuff like that, you've got no chance, right? You're absolutely screwed. So
was that a dig on Sam Bankman-Fried?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
I mean, exactly.